This video is sponsored by Skillshare. Yo, I just caught this in action. Look at this. Your MPC recovered from an internal error. I wanted to start this off by showing you this awesome program I made. Let me plug in my headphones real quick so I can figure out what's going on. So I wanted to start this off by loading this program, but I don't know what the heck just happened. Check this out. Browser, Places, MPC Live. I'll go to my samples, sample packs, vinyl, Live II. Whoa, easy there. So that's the sample, and I want to load the program, but check this out. Oh, damn it. See, look, the MPC Live now knows I'm recording. So with that being said, it just freaked out on me. There are still some weird things about this, and I kind of wanted to talk today about how I've been getting along with the MPC Live II. I finally saw the light, or pulled the trigger, or bit the bullet, whatever you want to call it, and got a Live II. And quick summary, I like it a lot, but there's a few things that it does that's really weird. And this is coming from an old school MPC user. You know, for example, this MPC here came out in, just kidding, this never came out. I wish this is like pocket operator size. Thank you, my friend, for getting me this. It's one of my favorite things ever next to this little guy. And yeah, it just does some weird stuff. But check out how beautiful this sound is real quick that I made off of this record I sampled earlier, because I kind of been having this in this little setup by itself with the turntable, and it's been amazing. But check this out. And what's crazy is when I sampled this, you can hear all those little crackles. I actually was saying, okay, cool, I actually loaded. Okay, see, I'm still in the discovery phase of this MPC Live II. It does a lot of really cool things. So I kind of posted up on the YouTube stories and asked, what do you want to know about it? Some questions. I wrote those down here. First one being, is the workflow slow? It's not, but it can be. This kind of ties in with another one where it's wondering, someone was wondering how this compares to the MPC One controls. One thing I didn't know when I was first looking at this is that you can just hold down menu and select anything that pops up here. So you don't have to say menu and then select this. You get really used to it. Like, I know menu here is my program edit, right? And what's even more fun is that all these little shift options down here, like sampler, is just a double tap. So you get really, really used to this. And this kind of reminds me a lot of my MPC 1000, where I would just hold down, I think it was shift or window, and you would just select whatever you want to go to, and it was super easy. And then you go back to main and you're set. So the workflow is pretty quick. The touchscreen is at times kind of weird. Like if I wanted to rename this, hit this guy here. Let's just say, like if I wanted to type country the way I would on like an iPhone or a smartphone or a tablet or something, I would say country. But see, it misses letters once in a while. So that kind of forces you to be like, okay, C-O-U-N-T-R-Y. It's like, it kind of feels like you're doing some touchscreen thing, signing up for like a credit card at Macy's or something like that. The screen is better than the Live. If you haven't seen those videos, man, I had a hard time with the Live. But the touchscreen here is all right. The workflow is pretty fast, pretty quick. Again, coming from an old school perspective, I was able to pick this up and learn it really fast, and I am still able to use this the way I use my classic MPCs. But there's just so much about this thing that it makes me laugh, and it surprises me constantly with how easy things are to do. Like, for example, chopping samples I just found today, you can go into pad tap. So when you're sampling something in, you could just start tapping where you want the slices to be in a non-destructive manner. You don't have to export them, or you don't have to save them in a program. This might not make any sense to you if you're not an MPC user. You don't have to save them in a program as separate samples. It's still just one long sample with different slice points, kind of EPS style. but it's amazing. There's so many things about this that are amazing. Another thing, somebody asked, I don't know if this was a joke, but they said, have you tried using this to sequence any external gear? How is it? I've only sequenced one thing, and it's an MPC, yo. It's incredible. It used to be called the MIDI Production Center until, what was it, late 90s, then eventually became the Music Production Center. It's still just as good. What's cool is you have your MIDI tracks as well as your audio tracks. So if I were to hide this here, I can go to another track here, and what is it going to be doing? I can be doing some program stuff. I could be doing MIDI stuff. I could load plugins. It's really fast, really simple, and really easy to understand. I know that one of my absolute favorite YouTubers, Marlo Diggs, or MPC Head, he talked about this new arming feature that has to happen. I didn't even notice it because I got into this at the 2.10 update. But he was saying in the older updates, there was no arming button. I have a link to that video down below. It's really good if you want to go check it out. He's uses MPCs basically the exact same way I do because he comes from the 2000 and possibly even later MPCs. Marlo, if you're watching, shout out to you, homie. I appreciate you a lot. But he talked about how this kind of breaks up the way he's used to working. So far, I haven't noticed it mess me up at all. But yeah, it's really good. You just arm your track and externally sequence any kind of MIDI stuff with the 5-pin MIDI out. And another thing, people are asking how portable is this thing? I started falling in love with Push 2, and it was really, really good, but I just wanted portability so bad. So I would say that this is way more portable than a Push 2 because you don't need the laptop. It's a bit more of a normal size because the Push is just like a giant block. Weight-wise, I would say this one's a little heavier. I wouldn't mind putting this in a backpack. I wouldn't mind carrying it. Or getting like one of the analog cases or something like that and just kind of have this with itself. The speaker and the battery is why I got this. And then I also realized that this one has Wi-Fi for splice versus the MPC One, which doesn't have Wi-Fi, but you can still connect to splice with the Ethernet cable. But I mean, I'm not going to plug an Ethernet cable into my, you know what? I'm not even going to say that because maybe I will. But yeah, I just wanted portability. I wanted to chill on the couch, make something there, bring it over here, and then start finishing it in live, in Ableton Live. And that's exactly what this has been doing. One of my favorite things about this is just a very similar way I was using my MPC 4000 and Push 2 is that I can just save programs. So I'll just sit here and chop vinyl. So like if I go and let's just say new track, program, I'm gonna just load up a new sound. These are all... Okay, so this is also something weird. These samples got sampled and saved onto my SD card. I'm not using an internal SSD where everyone's upgrading their things because if using the old MPCs taught me anything, you don't need a lot of space. I was working with floppies. I'm fine with 32 gigs, 16 gigs, that's more than enough. But I know if you're doing crazy long sets, sure, you might want to get a bigger hard drive. But listen to this. Or listen to this. What the hell is that? Right? That's not what the sample is. If I were to load this, and let's just say load it to here, what the hell is that? No clue. But that's besides the point. This thing does some funky stuff. So if I go to sample, edit this, right? I'm gonna just take the endpoint down and I'm gonna process this and just discard that so I don't need this. So of course this has lazy chopping. I can say manual and I can say, right, and then I can go back and edit these. There's also 0 point, which is really nice. So this will find the 0 phase point in the wave. That way there's no popping sound. So say I like this chop, right? Maybe I'll go to the program edit and pitch it all down. Oh, see, this is something I also forget. We'll go back to sample edit. This is how I was doing things on the 4K. Not sure if there's an easier way to do this, but I eventually just say shift. I want to convert these slices into a new drum program using slices in non-destructive slice, which is perfect. Do it. Now back on our main, for our program, I'll just select Bell Vinyl 1CH. So now it's... Now I'll go menu, program edit, and turn the pitch down. Right? Cool. Let's say I like this, but I got a dinner I got to go to, or I'm late, or I'm just not inspired, but I like where this can go. I can easily just say folder, save at, oh God, folder, and I want to save. No. See, I'm still learning. Give me a second. Main, pencil tool, save current program. And I can say Bell Vinyl, no idea how that E even got like that. Bell Vinyl chop. Do it. And where do I want to save this? I want to save this under my samples, sample packs, vinyl, live 2, and I'll just save it here. So boom, I can return to this later. I was doing this a lot on the push 2, just in case like later on I come up with some dope drums on here, but I'm not around any samples. I can just pull up some samples that I've already chopped to save me some time. It's very similar to kind of how Andrew Huang had that really good video where he talks about doing sound design separate from the making of music. And that happens to me a lot on those synthesizers where I'll be jamming, doing something cool, and then I'm like, all right, let's get some cool stabs. I'll go through some of the patches, then I'm like, oh, let me design my own. An hour passes by, next thing you know, I completely forgot what I was working on. So being able to slice ahead of time and save those easily is a big plus for me. This is totally something you can do on basically all MPCs, even before this one, but it's just so easy to do it on here. A few more things. Someone asked if it's clunky. It kinda is. There are times where it is clunky, but here's the thing, the clunkiness in the workflow will start to dissipate the more and more you learn to use this. That is like anything. When I first got the Octatrack, that was the clunkiest mess I have ever messed with. 2 years into the Octatrack, I knew it better than I knew anything else, and I was beyond fast on it, and everything made perfect sense. So the same goes with this. The touchscreen, again, isn't the worst, but it could, I don't know if it could be better at this point. I do wish it had like haptic feedback or something, or was just a little more responsive, or I don't know, had swipe to text or something. But at that point, it's just like, dude, just go buy an iPad, especially for the price of this thing, because it's pretty expensive. I want to say it's like $1,100 to $1,200. If you're not too down with the speaker or you don't need the battery, the MPC 1, great option, especially used on reverb, or even just the MPC Live, the regular one, not the 2. Same thing, it's still just as good. Force seems pretty cool, but I haven't messed with that one. Another question or concern that I actually had that also came up as a question is the CPU usage. So right now, I have 2 programs loaded, and I have no effects on this one, 2 effects on this one. Both the programs are pitched down, and I'm not even pressing play, and I'm chilling at like 10 to 11%. What happens when I press play? It's broken. Oh, okay, so I have nothing actually playing. So let's just say I have something going. So where are we at? 14, bro, come on. So the 15, so this is what gets me a little worried about this thing. An incredible artist and great friend of mine, Wajid, I'm not sure if you're familiar with his Dirt Tech record label. Actually, damn it, I just took it into the kitchen. I have this really dope tote bag from them. I have linked to his stuff down below. He played Moogfest with an MPC Live, the original one, and he had to use 2 to crossfade between because he couldn't fit everything, all the samples and stuff on one project, and CPU usage actually became a concern. But again, this was like 2018, 2019, and this was on the MPC Live, not the Live II. Might be different with here. I'm not exactly sure if you can stream samples directly from the hard drive and if that would be better or worse for the CPU. But I mean, look, a second ago we started spiking up to 14%, and I have one track going. So my concern with the CPU usage on this thing was doing a live set, like an hour-long live set. Maybe I'll try and set this up to do a live set, throw some programs in here and see what I can do. If that's something you're interested in, let me know. But yeah, the CPU usage seems to get kind of scary. Like if we were to go and say track 3, let's do a plug-in of I don't know, tube synth. Oh god, that's so bad. Okay, ignore this. Let's see where our CPU is now. 28%. Oh man, that is scary. I wonder what it would actually take to ruin this thing. Memory's at 1%, CPU is really high. That's the one thing that concerns me. Have you had any issues with your MPC doing CPU issues? Because by default, with even nothing loaded, it still kind of does random things here and there. But yeah, I mean, are you dealing with any of these issues? I know Marlo, talking to you, Accurate Beats, back at it again with me, pointing at the camera, asking you a question, or any of the other awesome MPC Live AV, I hope I'm saying that right. But I have them all linked in a comment down below. Go tell them I said what's up, go check out their videos, but I'm actually asking you, y'all doing all right with the CPU usage? Is that actually becoming an issue on your end? But I guess this kind of comes down to the final question, which is, do I like it? Am I going to sell this? Is there a reason why I bought the retro version? And this is coming from an old school point of view, but I guess really quick before I get into that, I want to give a quick shout out to today's video sponsor who helped make this channel keep on going and let me continue to do what I love to do, and that's going to be Skillshare. So in case you're not familiar, Skillshare is an online learning community for creatives. Whether you're a beginner, a pro, a dabbler, or a master, there will be a class for you. For example, a class I recently came across that I'm stoked to check out is Music Production for Songwriters in Ableton Live for Beginners by Eve Horn.
Have you been wondering how to get into music production, but you have no idea where to start? Amazing. I've been in the industry now for over 20 years. I've toured internationally and collaborated with...
Now, you're probably wondering, why the hell am I taking a beginner class? And this is because one of my favorite things about working with others in live or on an MPC or in anything is that you always learn something new. And taking this class with Eve is exactly that. It's subtle tips here and there, little tricks here and there that kind of help out my experienced mind. So in case you're new to Ableton Live or used to it and want to be inspired, I'd suggest checking out Eve's class. Luckily, since Skillshare is sponsoring this video, the first 1,000 of my subscribers to click the link in the description below will get a free trial of the premium membership so you can explore your creativity. All right, let's get back into it. So, yeah, I like this a lot. I like this a whole lot. I don't think I'm gonna be selling it. I love its portability. I love the ease of use. It's very convoluted at times, but you can just stay focused and use it the way that you want to use your old school MPCs. Even with something like this, if I were to go and mute track 3, right, and say we got this crazy thing going, I'd be like, okay, cool. Let me go to track 4 and like load up some drums or something. We'll get out of this mode here, menu, browser. I'll go back again. I'll just go to Pearl Drum X, samples, processed, kicks. Sure, and I'll load that here. Right, so these Q link buttons here are really good, so you can actually use these to change a lot of the settings, so you don't have to really rely on the touchscreen 100%. I mean, it does help a lot. For example, right now I'm trying to change the bars and I don't even know where to go. There it is, 4 bars. I'll just set it to 2. You know, we'll just play this in and right, time control, double tap to turn it off, double tap to turn it on. kind of lets you know where you're at. You got your note repeats. I mean, it's everything you want in an MPC and way too much more. There's a million different ways to do the same thing on this thing, which can get confusing at times. But at the same time, it's one of those things where you're always wondering, am I doing this right? Is there a better way that I could be doing this? And then you start going down the rabbit hole of trying to learn how to use it as opposed to just doing it the way that you know how to do it. I'd say for the first beginning part of this, I'm just kind of focusing on the way I used to use my MPCs, and I haven't come across anything that I was able to do on my old MPCs that I cannot do on here. So yeah, with that being said, I really do like this thing a lot. I love the speaker, I love the battery, lasts a long time, workflow's great, and yeah, it's awesome. I really like it a lot, and it's constantly surprising me and constantly cracking me up. So with how easy it is to do things, but this thing's in a completely different league, and the price is pretty expensive for what you're saving up for. It's getting down to the point where, do you buy a used MacBook with a copy of Ableton Live, or do you buy an MPC Live Mark II, right? Unless you start looking at the MPC Lives, which on the used market are great, and they are just as good as this. Or you get a 1000 with a lot less features, a little bit of a slower workflow, but you can still do a lot of what this is doing, especially if you're trying to keep it simple. So yeah, you want to see some more stuff on this? I'm down to bring it out. I've been trying to produce a lot on here. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna leave it here. I'm gonna load up a track that I was working on. I hope it sounds okay. Could be very embarrassing on my part, but that's all right. You know, we're all friends here. Yeah, and oh, I guess I should have said this at the very beginning. No, Akai is not paying me or sent me this. I bought this with my own hard-earned money. That's how much I wanted to try this thing. And it's not a sponsored video at all. Skillshare is a sponsor. I appreciate them. Akai, not sponsoring this. And they will never sponsor one of my videos. So yeah, with that out of the way, I appreciate you, love you, hope to see you again next week. And until then, you already know the drill. Share the love, share the knowledge. Knowledge is power. Peace. All right, let's see where we're at. If I go back. Tracks, 2021. What is this? Load. Okay. I hope this is okay. Please be all right. Cool. So this is actually a decent example. So on my old school way I used to do things, my old school way, that sounds so dumb. I have a low pass filter here, right? I still don't know how to assign this to Q links in the main section. I'm close. I know if I hold down Q link, I can go to Q link edit and select these to do something, right? Q links are fixed to controls, pad parameter, but then all that changes. So it's just like, how do I, wait, program, insert, parameter, frequency. Wait, is that it? Okay, cool, never mind, I'm fine, everything's great. Because on the 4K and like the X, you have a ton of Q knobs, right? On the 4K, you have Q knobs that don't do anything until you basically assign them. And then you got the slider on the 3K, this little slider right there. Again, until you assign it, don't really do anything. So I was trying to get these to do stuff, but they were always tied to like where you are in the sequence and what's going on. There's so much to talk about and learn about this thing. What is this track? Let's see what this track does. I'm getting carried away at this point. I just want to make some music. Okay, see, this one I did it my old school way, where I go menu, program edit, and I select all pads. And if I go to the filter, I'm now editing the filter cutoff for all pads. I don't use the insert. This to me allows me to go and add some depth. And I can, right, so I can do this for all pads at once. I got the Q right here. So this is kind of the way I prefer to work. And I don't know if I can assign, I'm pretty sure you can. Actually, what's crazy about this is you can actually automate the selection of everything. So check this out. We're recording, right? I can say, I mean, why would you ever do this? Actually, there was one track I did where this was super tight. And all that gets recorded. So watch this. What? What? Dude, I did this. Oh, did I do it here? Is that where I did it? Okay, here's the thing. I swear I did this. I'm not lying. This thing's crazy. It does too many things, and you can easily get lost and not know how to get back. And you're just going to be full Adonis, no way back. And you'll be lost, but you'll be having some fun. So I guess one more track, and we'll call it a day. Oh, was it this? Oh, it was this track. So this, here, I'll prove you wrong right now. This is the track that I did that weird pitch thing. Please be this track. Menu, pad mute. There, you hear that? Dun, 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 dun. Pitch up. Dun, 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 dun. I recorded that as automation of me just moving the knob, but I don't know how to do that again. But it's doable. Anyway, yeah, I'm gonna leave it at this. I've been talking too long. I appreciate you again, and yeah, peace out.